Every week you receive a report with everything that happened in your class. This report contains pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, other things. On the pronunciation section, there are 4 groups: vowel sounds, syllables, main words, and others. Today we're going to focus on the syllable part. 10 syllables, at most important syllables for your listening, comprehension, and also for you to sound great. So let's work on it. Let's talk about syllables today. Alright, so the first syllable is the syllable ER that many people will pronounce like air, like for example, teacher, better. Now, that is supposed to be pronounced much closer like So let's take a look at some words here. Bigger, bigger, better, better, mercury, person, and nervous. Let's take a look and see some people using this in normal conversations.
You will never find all the answers from. You will never find all the answers.
And believe me, I'm extremely grateful to be that person, because that
person had never really existed. That person.
To grow in your person like that, in your person like that, in your person,
be ignored. You feel like the life I'm living, the person I'm being, the person I'm being, the person.
It was discovered that that person had a genetic mutation. That person had a genetic mutation. That person. But it is usually or never seen in bladder cancer. It's usually seen in breast cancer. It's usually seen in breast cancer. Breast cancer.
even if you're nervous.
How they communicate with my nervous system. Nervous.
And it made me feel a little nervous.
That doesn't mean perfect, it just means better. It doesn't mean perfect.
It's essential quicksilver or mercury.
I grew up during the 60s when it was Mercury, it was Gemini. When it was Mercury, it was Gemini. Mercury.
Now, the second syllable is the syllable AL, that many people will pronounce ow, but it should be pronounced all, very closed. So you don't say social, you say social. You don't say fundamental, you say fundamental. You don't say real, you say real. And you don't say professional, you say professional. So don't derive it from Portuguese, just go like, oh, very closed, all. Let's see some people saying social, fundamental, professional, all.
Has connected me to a global cry for justice that has moved mountains for other social justice movements,
Hiding under layers of intelligence, sensibility, sophistication, and social cool. Social.
He was trying to achieve social justice, but ultimately social justice, social.
Making the system sensitive to this fundamental distinction. Fundamental.
With fundamental research, with fundamental.
Much more fundamental. Ashamed of the real desire of my heart, the real desire.
The budget has actually declined in real dollars. In
my professional career,
that came from is he studied professional athletes.
A new model providing for a professional investigation process, providing for a professional investigation.
So please be a professional. So please be a professional.
Next syllable is an. And here your reference is the word Anna. So the first part of Anna, an, not on, an. That's the sound of the syllable. So when you pronounce, for example, connect, make sure you make it like an, connect, not con, connect, connect. Also London, also sun, continue, and ton, tonelada, ton, 2 tons.
And when you choose to connect with others under stress, you choose to connect with others, to connect, you choose to connect with others.
So when we connect with that, connect
with the places where people live, connect them to good schools, connect them, connect them.
So I'm like, all right, we were in Paris, London, Morocco, Paris, London, Morocco, London, Paris, London, Morocco.
And with London, I've always wanted to work in London.
So he was involved in the classical music scene in London in the late 70s, in London.
I asked my son.
You either continue to swim upstream, continue.
Female-headed families continue to be.
We continue to fight, continue.
Pride and name recognition of the high-end cards, I think, will obviously continue.
When a coach is able to provide aggregate anonymous feedback, including the emotional tone associated with the work, tone.
Next syllable is the syllable or. And here your reference is the word amor, valor, or. So don't say more or less, say more or less, more or less, more or, forget, core business. Okay? Not car business. Core business. Store. Not star. Store. Star is the thing in the sky.
I have to say, having your identity taken from you, your core identity.
Companies put all of that time and energy and resource into their core business. And their core business
model,
as a more or less established.
Everything I've said to you until now is more or less fact. Everything I've said to you until now is more or less fact.
Going on 9 months, more or less solitary confinement, more or less solitary confinement.
Whether the number is more or less, the principle of equity, whether the number is more or less.
In her parents' apartment, more or less catatonic, more or less.
In the wrong kind of store.
To the corner, to the convenience store.
For the changes the 21st century has in store for us.
You're going to stop at the store tonight. You're going to stop at the store. You're going to stop at the store.
Take us through what that happened, then I want to explore your view. Take us through what that happened, then I want to explore, and then I want to explore,
It's about holding on to your core values while letting go of your inhibitions just enough to explore the expansive resources,
And therefore I was free to explore and free to explore and explore and explore and explore and
lesson here. Where you are born has a lot to do with the kinds of opportunities you will have. Lesson here. Where you are born. Where you are born. Born. Where you are born.
The one born. The one born.
All of us here were born.
Next syllable is N. So this is supposed to be pronounced like the letter N. So you don't say Canada, you say Canada, American. Can you help me? Mandatory, not mandatory. Mandatory. This is mandatory, obrigatório. Cancel, not cancel, not cancel. Cancel. American, not American.
Americans. 3 times the rate that it is for white Americans. Americans.
The world of performance became the cassette tapes my cousins dubbed of American television and brought back home. Of American television. American.
With mandatory expulsion. With mandatory.
Should be mandatory.
Or having to cancel.
Do not cancel each other out. Do not cancel. Do not cancel.
And also cancel.
There is a reason. Canada.
Here you're supposed to pronounce it when you pronounce chocolate. Or only chocolate. Not 8, but chocolate. You want some chocolate. Same thing for intermediate. Intermediário, intermediate.
I've seen people abusing chocolate. Those
giant screws. And they're used to mix and move everything from cement to chocolate. They don't use the same ones for...
There's nothing wrong with putting comfort items in your kit. So there is chocolate in mine. So there is chocolate in mine. Chocolate. So there is chocolate in mine.
Dr. Pepper soda, Hershey's chocolate. Hershey's chocolate.
English as a intermediate step. Intermediate step.
This is exactly the kind of intermediate technology
Next, this is what happens when the T follows the N in a syllable. Like, for example, the word mountain. What you do is you just don't pronounce the T. So it goes like mountain. Same thing for winter. Just forget the T. Winter. International, not international. Although if you pronounce international, there's nothing wrong with it, but I want you to be familiar with the pronunciation international. Internet. How often do you use the internet?
Use the ingenuity of America based on the internet.
Larry showed me the image that tracks all the internet searches taking place in the world. All the internet searches, all the internet searches.
So without technology, without the Googles of the world, without the internet, there would have been no way to actually go direct to the consumer.
Closely hand in hand with the entire international volunteer sending community, and that international volunteer
to the wizards behind the green curtain,
and he gets a job in a curtain.
Chance to peek behind the curtain.
That to bridge to 2008. Okay. So you're in Manhattan, you're in the center of all of this. So you're in Manhattan, you're in the center of all of this. So you're in Manhattan. So you're in Manhattan, you're in the center of all of this. You're in the center of all of this. You're in the center of all of this.
Very strong center for assessment, center for assessment, center for assessment.
When you're talking about trying to travel long distances on rough terrain, I immediately thought of a mountain bike, and a mountain bike's good at doing this. Mountain bike, mountain bike, mountain bike, mountain bike, mountain bike.
And he modified his own mountain bike, mountain bike, mountain bike, mountain bike, mountain bike, and he modified his own mountain bike.
A lot of folks are comfortable riding a mountain bike, a mountain bike, a mountain bike, a mountain bike, a mountain bike. A lot of folks are comfortable riding a mountain bike.
Next is the last syllable when you pronounce focus. Focus, not focus. Please, focus. Focus on your work. Focus on the solution. You have to focus in the morning. Focus. Focus. Same thing, justice. Not juice. Justice. Justice. Same thing with the word nervous.
You make me so nervous. You make me so nervous. Nervous.
I was nervous. I was thinking that a lot of my colleagues, I was nervous. I was nervous. I was nervous. I was nervous.
Yeah. Not suddenly.
No, okay, but I'm so nervous now. No, okay, but I'm so nervous now. I'm so nervous now. I'm so nervous. I'm so nervous. So nervous. Nervous.
Meet somebody like him. Do you get nervous, or like it's get nervous, or get nervous? Nervous.
You never lose focus. Lose focus. Lose focus. Focus.
So again, we're needing to create opportunities for focus on one thing. For focus on one thing. For focus.
Has connected me to a global cry for justice that has moved mountains. Global cry for justice.
The American criminal justice system.
We continue to fight for equality, for justice, for justice, for justice, for justice, for justice, for justice, for justice.
Next, O-M. When you want to say in English, you don't say come here, right? You say come here. So that is the sound that you're supposed to derive from. Say company, computer, company, computer, commerce, bomb, bomb.
So, actually a revenue generating for a company. Actually a revenue generating for a company. For a company.
Health insurance policyholders from one company to the other. From one company to the other. From one company.
You know, we were pretty excited about this Holland computer. This Holland computer.
Now, it's impossible to completely avoid change aversion, and
compare them and put them side by side, and compare them and compare them and put them side by side.
It increases the risk of everything from the common cold, the common cold.
On the micro level, you can help people in your communities get coverage. You can help people in your communities.
And finally, I see at the end, you don't pronounce icky, you pronounce ick. Fantastic, realistic, Pacific, and civic.
That is fantastic. And I think she has come up with such a fantastic idea. She teaches fantastic idea.
It's just a realistic assessment of how the world works. Just a realistic assessment. Realistic assessment.
Is probably not realistic.
Jin, what was the realistic analog? Realistic. Jin, what was the realistic analog?
Well, p.m. Pacific and around 4 p.m.
Pacific is when the Pacific p.m. Pacific and around 4 p.m. Pacific is when the...
I couldn't agree more about the idea of you want more civic engagement. You want more civic, more civic, you want more civic.
You might like a certain food, or you might be allergic to a certain food, or you might be allergic, or you might be allergic, or you might be allergic. You might like a certain food, or you might be allergic to a certain food.
Superhero, comic book, superhero, comic book, comic book, comic book, comic book.
My dad had a gigantic bookshelf, my dad had a gigantic bookshelf.
The most significant historic change in our city's governance. Historic change. The most significant historic change in our city's governance.